The night Emma first noticed the strange light in the old Hawthorne estate garden, a shiver ran down her spine. The town of Willow Creek was quiet, the streets deserted, the kind of quiet that pressed against your ears and made your own heartbeat sound too loud. Emma had stayed late at the library, as she often did, lost in books about faraway places, heroic deeds, and sometimes, ghosts. She carried her backpack heavier than usual, not just with books but with the weight of curiosity, a curiosity that had often led her into trouble. That night, it led her to the iron-wrought gates of the abandoned estate, a place shrouded in rumors and half-forgotten fears. She hesitated, her hand brushing the cold metal of the gate. Beyond it, the garden was overgrown, a tangle of weeds and vines that clawed at the broken paths. Yet, there was a flicker of light, soft, almost imperceptible, dancing near the fountain. Emma's heartbeat quickened. Most kids in town would have laughed off the stories or simply avoided the place, but she had always felt drawn to what others ignored. And then she saw him. A boy, crouched near the fountain, his figure almost blending with the shadows. He seemed fragile, yet there was something unearthly about him, a sense that he did not entirely belong in this world. His hair was black and disheveled, his skin pale, and his eyes wide, reflecting the moonlight like mirrors of hidden fear. "Hey," Emma called softly, unsure if she should run or stay. "Are you okay?" He flinched, but did not flee. His voice, when he spoke, was barely audible. I think I'm stuck," he said. "And I can't leave until." "Until what?" Emma asked, curiosity and concern warring inside her. I have to stay until someone cares," he whispered. Someone truly cares. There was something in that statement, in the vulnerability and the quiet desperation, that made Emma's chest tighten. She had always believed that people were capable of more than they showed on the surface, and in that instant, she decided that fear was not stronger than compassion. From that night on, Emma returned to the garden every evening. She brought blankets, food, and books. She tried not to think about the rumors surrounding the estate, the stories of disappearances, ghost sightings, and shadows that seemed to move on their own. She focused instead on the boy. His name, she learned, was Liam. He told her fragments of his story in broken whispers. He had been trapped here, caught in something ancient, something sad and lingering, that refused to let him leave. He did not fully understand it himself. Yet in her presence, Liam seemed to breathe more easily. He smiled occasionally, a small, tentative gesture, but Emma cherished every one. He spoke less of the darkness around him and more about things he remembered. The smell of rain on fresh grass, the warmth of sunlight through windows, the comfort of a soft blanket. Emma realized that love, kindness, and attention were as vital to him as air. Weeks passed, and the garden became their world. Emma sometimes wondered if she had lost touch with reality, the thrill of fear and the gentle stirrings of something deeper, something romantic, tangled within her. She found herself laughing at his jokes, his awkward attempts at humor, and even the way he flinched at sudden noises. In return, Liam seemed to mirror her humanity, learning slowly that the world outside the estate might not be entirely cruel. One particularly stormy night, the wind howled through the skeletal trees, rattling the broken windows of the old mansion. Rain pelted the ground, pooling in the cracks of the stone paths. Emma, soaked through and chilled, found Liam trembling near the fountain. His form flickered unnaturally, shadows curling around him like living things. "Emma," he whispered, voice breaking, "I'm losing myself." Her heart clenched. She stepped closer, wrapping her arms around him despite the cold. "Then hold on to me," she said firmly. "I see you, Liam. Not the shadows, not the fear, you. You're not alone anymore." The wind seemed to react, shrieking, but the shadows receded slightly as if recoiling from the courage in her voice. Liam's hands, cold and trembling, gripped hers, and for a long moment, the world narrowed to just the two of them, two souls bound by compassion and unspoken understanding. He looked at her, eyes glistening, searching for the certainty that she had never left his side, even in moments of terror. I can leave," he whispered finally, disbelief and hope battling in his voice. "You don't have to run from it," Emma said softly. "You just need someone to care. To be human with you." And slowly, miraculously, the darkness ebbed. Liam's pale skin regained warmth, his eyes shone with life, and the oppressive shadows that had haunted the estate seemed to lose their grip. Emma realized then that horror was not always about monsters or ghostly apparitions. It could be the quiet loneliness, the weight of being unseen, unvalued, and unloved. But kindness, empathy, and genuine care could pierce even the deepest darkness. When dawn finally arrived, the garden was bathed in gentle gold. Emma and Liam sat together on the fountain's edge, soaked but unharmed. The estate was still old and broken, but the shadows no longer dictated the rhythm of their lives. The connection they shared, unexpected, tender, and forged through moments of fear and courage, was a light that no darkness could fully snuff out. Over time, the town of Willow Creek whispered about the Hawthorne estate, as it always had, but Emma and Liam had learned a truth that was invisible to most, that love and compassion could save lives in ways that bravery and strength alone could not. Sometimes, saving someone meant staying when it would be easier to run, listening when no one else would, and loving when the world seemed indifferent. And in that realization, Emma discovered her own strength and humanity. She knew that the heart, when open and courageous, could turn even a place haunted by fear into a sanctuary of hope. Liam learned that he could trust again, that the world was not just shadows and whispers, but also warmth, laughter, and genuine connection. In the end, horror and romance intertwined in the quietest of ways, not through terrifying apparitions or grand gestures, but through small, persistent acts of kindness, trust, and love. It was a reminder that the darkest nights could give way to the brightest mornings, and even the most haunted hearts could be freed by someone willing to see them, truly see them, and stay. Emma and Liam's story became a legend in Willow Creek, not of ghosts, but of courage, compassion, and the human heart's capacity to heal itself and others. And it left anyone who heard it inspired, believing that sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is simply care. Emma had always been drawn to the unusual. While other teens in Willow Creek preferred safe streets and predictable routines, she thrived on the unknown. That night, the air smelled of rain and old leaves, and the town seemed to hold its breath. As she walked home from her late-night study session at the library, a faint glow behind the Hawthorne estate caught her eye. Most kids would have dismissed it, but Emma's curiosity propelled her forward, her steps soft against the cracked pavement. The Hawthorne estate had been abandoned for decades. Its walls were draped in ivy, windows shattered and dark, and the gardens overgrown with weeds. Stories of ghost sightings and strange disappearances surrounded it, tales whispered by generations of Willow Creek residents. Emma didn't believe in ghosts, or at least, she hadn't. But something about the light, a soft, flickering glow near the crumbling fountain, made her pause. As she stepped closer, she saw him. A boy, crouched on the cold stone edge of the fountain, staring into the water as if it held some terrible secret. His hair was dark, almost blending with the night, and his pale skin contrasted sharply against the shadows. He looked fragile, yet there was a strange strength in the way he held himself. "Hi," Emma said gently. "Are you okay?" He looked up, startled, eyes wide with fear, yet they held a depth of loneliness that made her chest ache. I can't leave," he murmured. "I'm stuck here." Stuck? How? Why? Her curiosity sharpened, mingled with concern. He hesitated. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "Until someone truly cares, I can't leave." Emma froze for a moment. The words hung in the air, heavy and strange. But something inside her stirred, a sense of purpose, a desire to help someone so clearly lost. That night, she didn't run. She stayed, sitting beside him, offering warmth with her presence. Over the next days and weeks, Emma returned to the garden. She brought blankets to wrap him in, snacks, and even books to read together. Slowly, the boy, whose name she learned was Liam, began to open up. He told her fragmented stories about his past, about being trapped by a presence in the estate that seemed alive, feeding on sorrow and fear. Emma listened, never judging, never rushing him. She noticed the way shadows seemed to cling to him, how his figure flickered like candlelight in a draught. But she didn't feel fear. She felt empathy, and gradually, something tender blossomed between them, quiet and cautious. Emma noticed small things that made her smile. The way Liam's lips twitched when he tried to make jokes, the way he watched her as if memorizing every movement, the way his hands, though cold and trembling, reached for hers when she offered comfort. She realized that their bond wasn't just friendship, it was something deeper, something built from trust and shared vulnerability. One stormy evening, the wind howled through the estate's broken windows, rain pounding against the stone paths. Emma found Liam sitting alone, shivering, shadows curling unnaturally around him. His form flickered violently, and the chill in the air made the hairs on her arms stand. "Emma, I feel myself slipping," he whispered, panic threading through his voice. "I don't know how much longer I can hold on." She stepped forward, taking his hands in hers, warmth seeping through despite the cold. "You're not slipping," she said firmly. "I'm here. I see you. I care. That's enough." The shadows around him seemed to react, swirling but retreating slightly at her words. Emma felt a strange energy in the air, a mix of fear and hope, as if the estate itself was alive, listening, and watching. "Liam," she continued softly, "you don't have to fight alone. Let me help you. Let me be with you." For the first time in what felt like eternity, Liam's expression softened. Tears welled in his eyes, reflecting the storm around them. I never thought anyone would stay," he admitted. "I didn't think anyone could see me, really see me." Emma squeezed his hands. "You've been seen now. You're not alone anymore. Not ever." As she spoke, the darkness seemed to recoil. Shadows that had clung to him like chains retreated, and the flickering of his form steadied. The storm outside raged on, but in the garden, a quiet warmth began to spread. Liam's skin regained color, his eyes sparkled, and the air felt lighter, less heavy with despair. The horror that had haunted him, the isolation, the fear, the lingering presence of something unseen, began to lose its grip. Days turned into weeks, and the garden became a sanctuary for them both. Emma and Liam shared stories, laughter, and quiet moments, the kind that stitched hearts together in ways words often couldn't. Their connection grew, not through grand gestures, but through constant, patient care. Emma understood that love wasn't only romance, it was being willing to stand in someone's darkness, unafraid. And Liam learned that it was possible to trust, to hope, to feel safe again. Even as the town whispered about the old Hawthorne estate, Emma and Liam discovered that courage and kindness could be far more powerful than any ghost story. Horror, they realized, could live not only in shadows but in the emptiness of being unseen, unheard, and unloved. And love, quiet, steady, and patient, could illuminate that darkness in ways that fear never could. One morning, as dawn painted the sky in soft hues of pink and gold, they sat by the fountain, hands intertwined. The estate was still old and abandoned, the walls crumbling and the gardens overgrown, but it no longer felt threatening. For the first time, the air seemed alive with possibility, with hope. Liam looked at Emma, a shy smile playing on his lips. "Thank you," he whispered. "For staying, for caring, for seeing me." Emma smiled, brushing a wet strand of hair from her face. "I didn't do it for thanks. I did it because it mattered. Because you matter." And in that moment, the line between horror and hope blurred. They understood something profound. Sometimes, the scariest battles were fought not against monsters, but against loneliness, fear, and the feeling of being invisible. And sometimes, the most powerful magic was the courage to care, to stay, and to love without hesitation. As the sun rose, casting light across the garden, Emma and Liam made a quiet promise to each other. To face the darkness together, to nurture the light within themselves and each other, and to believe that even the most haunted hearts could heal. The estate remained, but it was no longer a place of terror. It became a symbol of resilience, of kindness, and of the human capacity to transform fear into hope. Emma and Liam's story spread quietly through the town, a tale not of ghosts, but of courage, compassion, and the quiet power of love. And Willow Creek learned something that night, that even in the darkest corners, acts of care and empathy could bring light, that the human heart, when brave enough to reach out, could conquer shadows far older than anyone had imagined. Emma and Liam had discovered that, and in doing so, had transformed the horror of the Hawthorne estate into a haven of hope, a testament to the enduring power of kindness, trust, and love.